Tinubu reunites Wike, Fubara, and lawmakers. Senate urges federal government to seek foreign help, upgrade military kits. Plus, Israel says it hit 900 targets in Iran since conflict killed 11 nuclear scientists. We'll bring you details of these stories and more in a moment. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. On the news this afternoon, President Bola Tinubu has reunited the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory in Wike, suspended Rivers State Governor Siminalaye Fubara, and members of the State House of Assembly. Reports that the resolution of the crisis came after a meeting between Tinubu and the aggrieved parties at the presidential villa, Abuja, yesterday. The meeting with the president came after an earlier one between Fubara, the FCT minister, and the lawmakers. The special advisor to the president on information and strategy, Bayonaniga, in a post on his X handle, confirmed the development, noting that President Tinubu demonstrated he wanted peace for Rivers State. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has expressed optimism that the modern bus terminals in Abuja will improve security and ease transportation challenges in the Federal Capital Territory. Tinubu added that the terminals will, in no small measure, contribute to his administration's zeal to improve the fortunes of the people through improved connectivity, reduced travel time, and economic growth. The president, who was represented by Senate President Godswill Akpabio, spoke at the inauguration of the Kubo Bus and International Taxi Terminal in the FCT yesterday. He challenged FCT residents to cooperate with the management to ensure its smooth operations, explaining that his administration decided to prioritize high-impact transportation infrastructure because of the undeniable fact that no nation records progress without modernizing and expanding its public mobility and utility. In the meantime, Vice President Kashim Shettima has called on the organized private sector to support the federal government's policy reforms aimed at building a resilient and inclusive economy. Speaking at the fourth edition of the Nigeria Employers Summit in Abuja, Shettima, who is represented by the Special Advisor to the President on Job Creation and MSME, Temitola Adekunle Johnson, stated that the nation is currently undergoing a transition. He said the transition is with a wave of bold reforms designed to steer the volatile economy into a more stable and sustainable one. Shetima disclosed that the administration remains committed to ensuring that Nigerian businesses take full advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Area AFCFTA, as it recently gazetted the preferential tariff concessions under the AFCFTA. From the Red Chambers, the Senate has urged the federal government to seek foreign help to enable the country to overcome the growing insecurity in the land. The Red Chamber was reacting to rising cases of bandit attack and killing of military personnel and innocent Nigerians by armed bandits across the country. It advised the government to charge the Nigerian Armed Forces, the Nigerian police, and other security agencies to be alive to their responsibilities as well as develop innovative ways to combat the rising spate of insecurity in the country. The Senate also urged the federal government to collaborate and engage with foreign influences to develop modern ways of fighting insecurity with the use of technological and scientific means to save and protect the lives of its patriotic officers and men in the security agencies to minimize casualty level during operations. The resolutions of the Senate followed its consideration and adoption of a motion titled Armed Bandits Attack on the Nigerian Military Base around Kwanandutse and Mariga local government area of Niger State, urging need for the federal government to step up and upgrade its security apparatus to check the rising spate of incessant attacks by bandits and terrorists. Meanwhile, the Senate's Public Accounts Committee has issued a 10-day ultimatum to the Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Bayo Ojulari, to respond to audit queries involving trillions of naira in public funds. The committee expressed dissatisfaction over NPCL's failure to appear before it, despite earlier demands for explanations to certain 11 critical audit queries. The queries stem from significant discrepancies uncovered in the company's financial records, which drew public concern. The committee rejected a formal request from NNPCL seeking a 2-month postponement of its appearance, citing the absence of key officials who were reportedly on a management retreat. Describing the excuse as unacceptable, SPAC Chairman Ahmed Wadada stressed that the matter required no fresh documents but direct answers to pending questions already presented to NPCL at its last appearance. In the meantime, amid security challenges across Nigeria, the Senate has announced plans to engage key stakeholders in each of the 6 geopolitical zones to uncover the root causes of insecurity and develop practical solutions for lasting peace. The initiative, which was unveiled by the leader of the Senate and chairman of the Senate Ad hoc Committee on National Security Summit, Okoyemi Bamidele, in Abuja, emphasized that no investment in infrastructure can yield meaningful results without first addressing the country's security concerns. He stated that the committee's zonal meetings will provide a platform for community driven dialogue and region specific strategies with a common goal to ensure that every Nigerian, regardless of location or status, can live and work in peace. Back on the home front, Akwa State Governor Pastor Nwana has directed the State Commissioner for Finance, Imran Bob, to take over the coordination and supervision of the Ministry of Special Duties and Ibom Deep Sea Ports to ensure that all projects and programs continue seamlessly and are delivered with timeliness. Briefing Government House correspondent shortly after the State Executive Council meeting, the State Commissioner for Information, Ania Kanumana, said the decision was part of the resolutions reached during the meeting. According to him, the Executive Council considered a presentation by the Ministry of Youth Development on the Akwa Ibom State Youth Development Roadmap and approved the hosting of the Arise Skills Development Week from July 13 to 15, 2025, to coincide with the United Nations Youth Skills Development Day. He stressed that EXCO further approved the commencement of youth engagement programs, including the establishment of youth-friendly centers across the entire state, which will serve as a hub for learning, collaboration, and innovation, with a pilot in Uyo, the state capital. Meanwhile, to improve water supply, sanitation, and hygiene, WASH, in the state, the Executive Council reviewed the various WASH documents presented by the Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation, including the Akwa Ibom State WASH Policy, WASH Monitoring and Evaluation Framework, the roadmap for making Akwa Ibom State open defecation free by 2030, and the Akwa Ibom State Water Regulation Bill 2025, directing the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice to ensure transmission of the draft bill to the State House of Assembly for consideration and passage into law. The information boards also disclosed that the Executive Council also reviewed the state investment books and directed the Akwa Ibom State Investment Corporation to exit the state government from non-profitable companies and ventures, further approving the inclusion of the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice and the Commissioner for Finance as statutory members of all boards of government-owned establishments. He noted that in order to rekindle sports development and ensure youth sports activities in the state, the council, following the presentation by the Ministry of Sports, approved the hosting of the Akwa Ibom State Sports Festival 2025, noting that the activities will commence from July to September 2025, with the coordinating committee to be headed by Commissioner for Sports, Elder Paul Bassi. The Executive Council acknowledged the celebration of the Civil Service Week and congratulated the head of the civil service and public servants in the state for a very impactful celebration, promising full participation of the state government in events lined up to celebrate the week, with will climax with a Thanksgiving service on Sunday, June 29th. Government House correspondent June Wa reports that the governor further thanked council members for their support throughout the period of the state's progressive movement and further tasked members of the Executive Council to recommit to the ideals of their rice agenda by working extra hard to ensure the delivery of dividend of democracy to the people. We move on to Africa, where Kenya's interior minister has accused protesters of a coup attempt after deadly demonstrations were witnessed in many cities and towns across the country. The interior minister, Kipchumba Murkomen, assessed the damage to businesses of the capital, Nairobi, where goods were stolen from multiple stores. He said police would follow up with owners whose CCTV cameras captured the looters to ensure swift arrest. Recall that Kenyans mobilized Wednesday's protest on social media platforms to mark the first anniversary of huge anti-tax protests when demonstrators stormed parliament and at least 60 people were reportedly killed and 20 others missing. On the foreign scene, Israel's military says it struck more than 900 targets inside Iran during its unprecedented Operation Rising Lion. The Israel Defense Forces (IDF) claimed the operation killed 11 Iranian nuclear scientists and 30 senior security officials, including 3 top commanders. The IDF, in a statement, noted that the operation struck more than 900 targets overall, destroying 200 missile launches, which the IDF claimed accounted for half of all of Iran's launches. The strikes also destroyed aircraft and missile production sites, thereby preventing the manufacture of thousands of additional missiles. Still on the foreign scene, Canada's parliament has passed a landmark bill giving Prime Minister Mark Carney's government new powers to fast-track major national projects. The One Canadian Economy Act was passed by the Senate and allows the cabinet to streamline approval processes and bypass certain provisions of federal laws for projects that could boost the economy. Reports say supporters have said that the legislation is a critical step in reducing Canada's dependence on the United States, aimed amid, I beg your pardon, trade tensions sparked by President Donald Trump's tariffs, but it has been criticized by indigenous groups and environmental activists who say expediting the project could stifle opposition voices. Still to come in the news. Raducanu to face British teenager Zoo at Wimbledon. Stay tuned for details of these and more in a moment.
Broadening your horizon is what every living being not only genuinely desires, but heartily pursues and intentionally invests in. For in the gathering of men, only those whose minds are in tune with the dynamics of the past, present, and future innovations, inventions, politics, and governance are respected. They are Spectrum Television, and broadening your horizon is our obsession. Risk on your decoder now to connect Spectrum Television on the frequency 12589, simple rate 26250. That is Frequency 12589. Symbol rate 26250. Polarization horizontal. And join our online community at spectrumtvlive.ng. For further inquiries, please call 0704 158 5642 or 0704 541 7707. Spectrum Television, broadening your horizon.
Of Nigeria, they lamented that the marine debris impairs navigational safety and port operations, polluting coastlines, undermining tourism, coastal livelihoods, and community health, among others. The managing director of the Nigerian Port Authority, Dr. Abubakar Dantoso, explained that marine debris threatens biodiversity, including fish, marine mammals, and seabirds, often resulting in entanglement and ingestion. Represented at the event by the principal manager of the Marine at NPA, Femi Oyewole, the NPA boss said that as custodians of Nigeria's seaports, the NPA is deeply committed to advancing national and global efforts to combat marine litter and preserve the integrity of the marine ecosystem. On our health news, clinical pharmacist Dr. Olumide Obube has faulted Nigeria's current drug control approach, describing it as disproportionately focused on discriminating and criminalizing drug users rather than offering healthcare based interventions. He noted that existing policies often ignore the public health and human rights dimensions of drug use, resulting in more people being arrested than being referred for professional help or treatment. Furthermore, the pharmacist decried the scarcity of rehabilitation facilities, noting that fewer than 20 public drug rehab centers exist nationwide, with most of them concentrated in major urban areas. Overway noted that to address the crisis effectively, Nigeria must strengthen primary prevention efforts, particularly among the youth. He suggested school based life skills education, tighter regulation of pharmaceutical supply chains, digital anti drug campaigns, and increased parental involvement. Now to sports where Emma Raducanu has been drawn against teenage wild card Mimosu in an eye-catching All-British first-round match at Wimbledon. Reports say if British number one Raducanu beats 17-year-old Zhu, she will face either 2023 champion Marketa Vodskova or 32nd seed McKetney Kessler in the second round. Raducanu, ranked 38th in the world, is not seeded at the championships. The grass court Grand Slam begins at the All England Club on Monday. Celine Sports Norwegian club Hamkam, I beg your pardon, have completed the signing of Peter Edache from Mahanam Football Club. Hamkam made the decision to sign the youngster after the impressed season during a trial of the club. Both clubs have chosen not to disclose the details of the contract. The 18-year-old who grew up in Kaduna is noted for his impressive footballing skills. Lastly, on the news up this hour, in entertainment, popular Nigerian skit maker Kata Efe has lost his Instagram and TikTok accounts. The development came days after he criticized Afrobeat singer Wizkid during a live stream. Speaking in a series of posts on X, the content creator stated that his Instagram account with 1.8 million followers has been taken down by Wizkid FC and his TikTok has also been blocked. And that's all we have on the news at this hour. Do well for us on social media. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtvlive.ng. This has been Spectrum Television News at 12 a.m. EIMM. Thanks for watching. Good afternoon. Spectrum TV, broadening your horizon.